Hey everybody, this is Brenda Johnson, Canvas Tag, retired school principal. I'm sitting here at the park. It is beautiful. I got my sunroof. Matter of fact, I can open this sunroof. I'm sitting here at the park. There's no sun where I was sitting, so I decided to come have lunch in my car. Lunch. Let me show y'all. We're at the park. I actually came to the park to have lunch and get some sun, but when I got here, there's no sun. So I sat out for a while, but there's no sun. I have more sun coming right here, like right here. I can feel it on my head, see the shadow. So I have more sun right here. So I wanted some sun. Thank you guys for everybody who was checking on me, asking me how I was doing, asking me how I was feeling. Well, I'm doing a lot better, really well. I think the anxiety and the stress I had was because I had to go get my license, and I knew a lot on my license had to be changed. You know, when somebody died, you find out the truth in the whole family. So I had to have a lot of stuff on my license was changed, and I had to get my birth certificate. So I got all that done yesterday, and I think that's where a lot of the anxiety came from, going back to when I was told I had brothers and sisters I didn't know I had. Parents' names weren't the same as they should have been. Mom and dad. Brothers I didn't know I had. Sisters. Thank God that I didn't grow up with them. Now I got to see two. One was dead before we found out. But so a lot of stuff had to change. I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to go get my birth certificate. I didn't want to do my license. I didn't want to do any of that. But I had to, and I guess that's where the anxiety came from. So I dealt with that anxiety yesterday. But once I dealt with it, I think I did really good. I kept doing what I was doing, just kept motivating myself. Even though I had the anxiety and the depression, I still got through it. I was thanking God the whole time. And I was asking God, it could be different. You got to be careful what you ask for. I had a conversation with my daughter, Joanne, one in the military. You really have to be careful what you ask for. Because when my parents died, my mom, my dad, and my brother all died within right there together. And I can remember saying, man, Lord, I wish I had a bigger family. I can remember saying that. Man, did it hit home. Damn. I said, I know. I have all these family members I didn't even know I had. So that hits you hard. But that's just more people to love you. And I'm talking blood, clean blood, same blood in your veins. Man, our people back in the day, they kept some secrets. But I did learn a lot yesterday. The meeting went really well. Learned a lot. Signed a lot of paperwork. Gave over a lot of money that didn't really bother me because I didn't know I had it. You know, when you have family that die and they leave you everything, they need to tell you. But anyway, that's a whole nother. Some of y'all know that story. But so I signed those paperwork yesterday because the government is going to take over it anyway. Because when somebody dies and they leave you something, and someone else claims it, and they're not kin to you, I don't want to go into detail because I don't want to put it out there, but I'm going to make a long story short. Somebody close to me died, and left me a whole bunch of money. They weren't married, but they had someone living with them. They had no kids. But they left me the money out of guilt for the wrong reasons. And it had something to do with my mom. So it was out of guilt. So I couldn't take that money. Not out of guilt, not like that. But little did I know when I turned it down, this was a couple of years ago, that federal was going to end up at my front door asking for taxes. And I'm like, I didn't even get the money. I didn't even, matter of fact, where the place I'm talking about, I've never even been because Brenda ain't flying. So I was like, so there was an investigation about 3 years ago. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. I wish I could tell everybody. And some of y'all wanted to know what happened yesterday. So that's where we went. It's just, the guy looks at me. He goes, "Are you just going to walk away from?" I'm like, "Yeah. It's just not." My mom used to tell me two things about money. One, if you see money on the ground, bills rolled up, don't pick them up. And I didn't understand why. But as I got older, I realized what she was talking about. Because they had cocaine on them. They had things on them that can penetrate your skin. And my mom really believed in people can fix you. She was Creole. She was Indian and black and Creole. So she really believed you could be fixed. People could get fixed. So if it ain't yours, don't touch it. That's what she would say. Never leave your clothes in a clothes washing machine, in a laundromat. And and anytime you get money that's not really from God and it's just wicked ways you get it or the wrong reasons you get it, nothing good can come from that. Only bad can come from that. So I was like, no, I don't care what y'all do. I don't care what happens. I don't want to press charges. They're like, well, the state already took over the case. I said, okay, but I don't want to press charges. They're like, okay, that's cool. We understand. And I said, do I have to sign anything else? He's like, no. I go, you do realize you're walking away from this money. I'm like, I want nothing to do with it. Nothing. And this is not the first time this has happened to me. This is a reason. And I think that's why the reason people leave me money. Because when my brother Herman died, the same thing happened. He was not married. And so, but he was common law married. So I don't care telling this business, I don't care. He's dead. So they left, he leaves me everything. I'm like, oh man, here we go. But I knew he had a kid, and I know he had a common law wife, even though they didn't live together. So I just signed it all over to her. I'm like, I wanted nothing to do with it. I mean, my thing is, I knew, and I learned a lot when he died. I just like, okay, here's a will. We had to get him buried. His, because he lived by himself. They were living together for like years and years. And then he had a girl. He kind of like adopted her daughter. And then he had his own daughter, which is my niece. And their mom's amazing. Whatever, it didn't work out. He buys a new house. They stay in the old house. He has a Corvette. He was retired and he had made big bucks. And he was a retired Marine. So when he died, he had all this stuff. And since I was the baby girl, and he was my oldest brother that I grew up with, and I was a baby girl. So he always looked out for me. Like when he went in the Marines, he would buy me coats, clothes. I had the nicest clothes. He was always buying me stuff from over China. Back then, China had that market. They still do, really. They still have it now. So he was always taking care of me. And, man, people said, don't sign those papers. But if you know, if you know that nothing good can come from me not signing those papers over to his, I say wife, because they live together like 15, 20 years. Nothing good's going to come from that. And soon after that happened, and you guys are my witness, it was like I got out of nowhere. Somebody just was like, okay, here's $100,000. That was a gift from God. Soon right after that. And so that's what I'm saying. My business was doing great. I hit it all. I was like, wow, look at God. You give up something, but then something comes back. I was able to pay off all my loans, school loans, and everything. Everything got paid off. So I was like, look up, that's nothing but God. So I guess what I'm trying to say today is, so I had a little anxiety yesterday. I was telling y'all about it, and a lot of y'all were asking me how I feel. I have no anxiety today at all. None. It's like I'm back to Brenda. But the last 2 days, I had anxiety. I was depressed a little. But I just kept grinding. I didn't give up. I just kept grinding. Because like I said, if you have anxiety, you have to realize, okay, first of all, what's happening to my body? Second of all, I have to do this. And no, it's not going to last forever. Once you got that going, then everything else falls in place. And so since I have a bachelor's in kinesiology, I already knew anxiety because the study of the kinesiology is the study of the human body. So I was like, okay, I get this. I understand where this is coming from. And a lot of people that have anxiety, they don't understand what's going on. And they don't want to tell anybody because they don't want people to think they're crazy. And so no one says anything. That's why I'm saying it today. It's okay. We all get it. I'm sitting here with a master's and had anxiety yesterday. Just because I had a master's degree don't mean I wasn't going to get anxiety. So don't think that everybody are not going through something. You're going through it by yourself. That's why I do these videos. I'm eating McDonald's. I had anxiety so bad yesterday, and like I said, I know why. Because I had to go sign all that paperwork, it brought back my mom, my dad, my brothers. It brought back so many memories, good and bad. So, and then it was hard. It was real hard. And then I had to go change my name, correct it right on my birth certificate, correct it right on my driver's license. It was crazy. Your whole life, you wake up. Imagine waking up and somebody tells you, this is not your real grandma. This is not your real grandfather. This is not your dad's name. This is not your mom's name. Oh, yeah, by the way, your mom has 3 other kids over here. By the way, your dad has a kid over here. By the way, wake up to that. And so then what you have to do is you have to, first of all, you can't judge your parents. That's the first thing. You can't judge your mom. You don't know what happened. I now know from yesterday what happened, but I didn't know. I had heard so many stories about my mom and dad, but now I realize I know the truth now. From yesterday, my attorney told me everything. I know what happened. I know what happened to my mom. I know everything. So I know why she had to leave her kids, and that was just, she wasn't being selfish, and that was a good thing. And I understand why a lot had happened that I didn't understand in my life when I was younger. And I understood why my mom was always so making sure we had everything and didn't long for anything. And tell us, don't do this, don't do that. I understand now. And it's kind of weird because when I tell my kids, they don't understand. They look at me like I'm crazy. But I'll probably be dead and gone. And one day they're going to say, that's what Mom was talking about. So With that said, I'm fine now. And I'm like, wow. But that was stressful. It was like people dying all over again. But I didn't let that stop me. I hope if somebody's feeling like this today, right now, the main thing I wanted to tell you is what I tell my kids. You're in the now. It's going to get better. It's going to change. You have to believe that it's going to get better. It's going to change. Don't get stuck in the now. This is now. This is now. This is now. That's what I call it with my daughter. Some of you have heard me say that. And I'll tell her, you're stuck in the now. You're stuck in the now. And she's like, okay, I got it. And then she'll call me, you're right. Da, 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 da. But it's not even the basis of me being right. It's more of the basis of understanding that what you're going through right now will get better. And if it don't, the worst thing that's going to happen, and I'm going to say this, you're going to die. But if you're living right, it's kind of one of the best things that can happen if you're living right. We can't just stop life and say, you know what, God, I quit, and kill ourselves. It's against the law. It's against God. So you can't do that until He's ready to bring you home. So know that every day you lay down and wake up, that day is a new day. You can see change. You just have to believe it. And when you're going through it, nothing makes sense. Everything, man, I even had a hard time filling out that form yesterday. That's how bad I was. I was so messed up. I couldn't even figure. I was trying to do that form. The lady finally said, just give it to me. And I gave it to her, and she was filling it out because that's how messed up I was. But I knew what kept me going was I knew that tomorrow was another day, which is today. It's beautiful. God woke me up this morning. I'm not laying on a table dead. Sun shining. Beautiful. No anxiety, no nothing. Because I had to confront it. And you're going to have to confront it. And I'm going to be honest with you. Anything that I couldn't confront in my life, I removed it. And sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to move things out of your life that you can't confront. And when I say that, I'm going to say it like this. Yes, that anxiety is going to go away. But if you're sitting at home in a destructive relationship and everything's okay until you go out and eat, or everything's okay until you go somewhere, or everything's okay until somebody thinks somebody's doing you wrong or cheating, and it keeps going and there's no growth in either one of you, and there's no growth, maybe you're growing and that person's not, and you're second guessing your whole decisions, then yeah, you're going to have anxiety. Yeah. If you're sitting there and you're pulling the whole load and this person's not, but they don't even have to live with you.